Hello, everybody, and welcome to the channel. It's Paulie Esther here, and you may remember a couple of days ago, Dead by Daylight talked about changing the way they do design previews and having transparency associated with them, and including us, taking our feedback, giving us surveys to do. And it looks like that's coming to fruition now with this tweet that came out today for the design preview changes for the Skull Merchant that they alluded to in that last video. I have not looked at any of this. This came out while I was streaming today. It's kind of a late tweet for Dead by Daylight. But we're going to go through it today, and then I guess we'll check out the survey. And also, we might look at some of the responses from people who have been able to digest this already from Twitter and see what the overwhelming response is to these changes. So let's get right into it. Ready or Drones, we're sharing an update on what the future could hold for the Skull Merchant. We'd love your feedback on these possible changes, so let us know in the survey at the end of the design preview. And then they have links here to the forums and to Reddit, so we're going to go to the official forums. Design preview for the Skull Merchant. Request for feedback. Balance being fun to play as and against. Keep kit intel focused while being more intuitive to understand. And shift from a passive power to a more active play style, and complete our survey. So let's get into it and see what it's all about. Okay, here we are on the design preview for the Skull Merchant, last updated at 12:30. Yeah, that's when this went live. Normally DVD tweets at 11, so this was kind of late. I was already well into stream and I didn't want to end stream to come and check this out, so we're going to check it out together now. On this page, reevaluating the Skull Merchant, drones 2.0, drone control, drone hacking, red light, green light. What is that? Red light, green light. Tentative release. All right, here we go. Design preview for the Skull Merchant. Okay, and then they have it links here to translate it in other languages. Today we want to dig into a topic that we know many of you have been yearning to know more about, our vision for the future of the Skull Merchant. Reevaluating the Skull Merchant. We know that Skull Merchant is a divisive killer who, regardless of her performance in a trial, carries a lot of history and strong feelings among players. That's true. Like, I've seen people just DC against her, even in her weakened state right now. I don't know what it is. They just carry a lot of baggage from the past and they just dip. I don't get it, but many players feel she's not fun to play against and her kit is exceedingly complex. This scares away potential killers from trying her and makes it difficult for survivors to consider counterplay without dedicated research. As we look to reworking Skull Merchant, our aim is to strike a balance between being fun to play as and against, preserve the intel focus of her kit while making it intuitive to understand for both sides, and move away from a passive power with limited player interactions and embrace a more active playstyle while ensuring her power is compensated in interesting ways. And those last 2 points may be particularly difficult to hear for long-time Skull Merchant mains, but we feel it's important to be clear about our intentions here. While the future we envision for Skull Merchant is quite different from her previous iterations, we feel this rework brings some exciting new tools of torment to the table. Yeah, this is something I touched on stream today. Talking about here, makes it difficult for survivors to consider counterplay without dedicated research. We faced some twins today, and I was saying how I feel like the twins have a very high kill rate, and I feel like a lot of the community doesn't really understand how to play against them, like using the buddy system, trying to stay healed as much as possible, because you just don't face that many twins, so they don't really learn these skills. And the same could be true for the Skull Merchant. If you don't face a killer enough, you don't really know what to do to play against them. All right, so here we go. Drones 2.0. The Skull Merchant can deploy a stealth drone as she carries a total of 5, which scans its immediate vicinity and provides intel back to her. After a short activation period, the drone gives off subtle audio and visual indications of the area being scanned, revealing any survivors on the radar who are caught by its 2 rotating detection zones. Importantly, we've slowed their rotation speed slightly and toned down the visual intensity of these zones, removing the large scan lines to replace them with something more subtle. Namely, you'll see the direction of each detection zone as they rotate, but the detection zone itself is invisible. This gives survivors an impression of the space that's being actively scanned, but requires them to proceed cautiously. Yeah, I heard the art was great on this. All right. Top view, not visible, invisible. Side view, much smaller visual. While we know they had their supporters, the original scan lines were visually loud and often clashed with the rest of the game's look and feel. The intent here is to strike a balance between giving survivors just enough info to assess the threat, a subtle rotating field of detection, without that threat overwhelming the space and feeling incongruous to Dead by Daylight's visual identity. I have to see what this looks like in game. I can't go just by this art. Drone control. Oh, good, more art. Yes, okay. Drone control. Once a stealth drone, let me see if I can maximize this here. Once a stealth drone has been active for a short period, Skull Merchant can choose to take control of drones from a distance. During this time, she becomes undetectable as her controlled drone becomes the primary threat. These stealth drones move slightly faster than her base movement speed and consume a new resource, power, unique to each drone while being controlled, like the energy power for the drone to run the drone. Power, yeah. Power is consumed slowly as the controlled drone idles, and slightly more is consumed while moving. Skull Merchant is also able to use a burst of this power to activate drone propulsion. This charged power sends the drone flying forward at high speed relative to how long it was charged. So is this going to be kind of like Pinhead's chains, where you can control the drone and just shoot it at people? Pow! Again, you know, art team, amazing. All right. But simply, stealth drone go brr. Okay. Hitting a survivor with drone propulsion causes them to lose a health state. If you hit a survivor or collide with an object during this action, the drone will be destroyed and return control to the Skull Merchant. With these new stealth drones, we want to give players something that feels familiar, using drones to gather intel, but also opens the door for unique skill expression opportunities, repositioning drones and propulsion skill shots. Using technology to hunt her prey is core to the Skull Merchant's identity, and so it's important that we stay. Actually sounds kind of a cool idea, right? I like that that's in her lore. I think that's cool. We have opted to remove many of the background effects, hindered haste, lock on, claw trap. Oh wow, claw trap's gone, huh? That were previously tied to these drones though. Rather than doing a little bit of everything with her drones under layers of complexity, we want their use cases to be clear to killers and survivors alike on the fly. Basically, if they're static, they're likely scanning for survivors. If they're moving, they're a collision hazard. So does this, okay, that's my next question. Normally, I would just play around the drone. I would duck under the scan lines and ignore them. Most often, I would just do the gen and ignore the drones. Now, I think it becomes important to hack the drones. Let's see what they say about this. Drone hacking. Like drones themselves, drone hacking returns with a greater degree of risk and reward. Like before, drones can be disabled by survivors by inputting a series of button presses while close. If a drone is disabled, Skull Merchant's aura is revealed to that survivor, providing useful intel, all right? If the hack failed, they are revealed by killer instinct and are prevented from attempting another hack for a short period. The intention here is to introduce a greater degree of tension to hacking while offering a clear way for survivors to interact with Skull Merchant's kit in a meaningful way. The intel reward is greater than before, but the risk of being revealed is more impactful. With intel at the center of this tension on both sides, we hope it makes this interaction easily digestible by players. I wonder if the hack is going to become more difficult, because I would rarely fail a hack. So I feel like this is like a lot of upside for survivors. If it's faster or something, we'll see. Red light, green light. In addition to her drones, Skull Merchant has another power that ties into her radar. While the name is currently to be determined, isn't it red light, green light? What? Let's refer to it as global detection power. Once this power is charged and activated, a global warning plays for all survivors. Oh, sorry. Okay. For a short period afterwards, any survivor who actively sprints is revealed on her radar. Oh, so it is like red light, green light. Don't get caught moving. Of course, crouching, standing still, and hiding in lockers all prevent detection. Added to the intel provided by stealth drones around the map, this should help ensure killers are easily able to keep tabs on survivors' movements. In line with our rationale above, we want survivors to have a clear understanding of what's happening when they face a Skull Merchant. Where the overlapping timers and status effects of Skull Merchant's previous kit often obscured what the expected result of an encounter might be, structuring this power around a well-known game, red light, green light, provides a clear and readable threat, a clear benefit for the killer, and a clear path for survivors to try and overcome it. So okay. I wonder how often she can activate this, that we all have to play freeze tag. Huh, interesting. Tentative release. We are currently evaluating a timeline for Skull Merchant's rework, but do envision it being quite far out as our primary focus is on driving quality of life updates. Once we have a timeline to share, we'll be sure to keep you informed via future design preview updates. Whew, that was a lot. How do you feel about this rework? We want to hear from you. Jump into our survey and share your thoughts right here. And then there's a link. I'll put the link in the description if you want to participate in the survey. See you in the fog, the Dead by Daylight team. Okay, so if they're saying that this is quite far out as the primary focus is the quality of life updates, well, quality of life is running through December from July. Phase 2 is July through December, the end of the year. So it sounds like this stuff might not be ready until next year, maybe end of the year. We'll see as it gets closer, but that's what we've got. So here is the link to the survey. Let me see, I got the survey link here somewhere. Here is the survey. Survey is pretty short. I think it's only like 8 questions. So I'll have the link to this. And basically it just says, how satisfied or dissatisfied are you with these changes to the Skull Merchant? And which role do you play the most? In the past 6 months, what percentage of your games as killer have you played as the Skull Merchant? To what extent do you agree with the following? And then it says, I think I need to move this down a little bit. As survivor, these changes will make the Skull Merchant more enjoyable to go against. As killer, these changes will make the Skull Merchant more enjoyable to play as. As killer, these changes will make the match as the Skull Merchant more enjoyable. The drone scanning while in stealth, controlling the drone, using the drone as an attack with drone propulsion, drone power economy, drone hacking, global detection power, and the potential for survivor counterplay. And then which platforms do you play on? How would you describe your experience level Dead by Daylight? And what country do you live in? And that's it. That's the end of the survey. So it's pretty short. So I saw some people wish that there would have been a box on that survey so that they could actually input some comments as well, but there isn't. So they want to hear your feedback on forums and things like that, I guess. So it says here, Dead by Daylight, the Skull Merchant's controversial rework. The developers of DBD have announced a significant update for the character of the Skull Merchant, aiming to enhance her gameplay by making it more active, intuitive, and balanced. The update includes changes to her abilities, focusing on drone usage for information gathering, and chase mechanics rather than passive effects. Community reactions are mixed. Some players are excited about the new gaming dynamics, appreciating the shift to a more engaging style. However, others, especially those who main the Skull Merchant, feel that these changes dilute her unique identity, with suggestions ranging from reverting to her original design to a complete redesign. The developers are actively seeking player feedback through surveys to refine these changes. And then we have a few comments here. Choi says, initial thoughts, this is a new character, rest in peace, Skull Merchant mains. Glad they're adding a skill shot to her drones. This is what I always felt was missing. Hacking a drone has way too much benefit with very little risk. Increase the punishment of a failed hack. Again, we have to see if they amp up the difficulty of the hacks to say for sure. But as it stands, I kind of agree with that point. But I think it's survivor upside. Let's see. I like this so far. Sounds promising. I really hope they bring back the eye and being scanned animation, the one that played when they were in an active zone pre-rework for the last bit of her power. I forgot that that existed, actually. As a person who didn't enjoy this Skull Merchant nor her older and stronger version, this seems really cool and pretty much what I thought Skull Merchant would initially do when she was announced. I'm not a fan of this at all. This is a new killer, in Chase at least. Mandy, so happy we got this out today. Can't wait to see all the feedback on the proposed design. So her power is still scanning and information based, but now I can just throw the drones at people. I like this, actually. The Skull Merchant rework is actually really cool. If it was on any other killer, how do I put it? If Skull Merchant released with this as her original kit, that would be awesome, but you can't just swap out her kit that people have already learned and had fun with just like that. Kind of saddened to see her identity just be gone instantly. The people who play her played her for the trap play style, so now they just lost their killer. Let's see. Why don't they just make her the OG Skull Merchant again? This just sucks 100%. If this level of power change happened to any other killer, there would be more pushback. This power now sucks. Drones moving, I suppose, is fine, but everything else, no. Wow, that was a lot to take in. I mean, I don't hate it. I'm just nervous still. So she's going to be a range killer now, and we lose a drone. I need Pixel Bush to make a video on it so I can fully grasp what behavior is going to do to her. Pixel Bush is a well-known Skull Merchant main, and Pixel Bush has said, even aside from the loss of her identity, this rework is a total mess. These new drones have so many issues that people already hate twins for having, but sometimes worse. I'll be covering this in my video, but holy cow, this cannot reach the PTB. So we'll see here. I have seen some people say that they're trying to turn the Skull Merchant into a twins-like character by remotely controlling another character like Charlotte. You know, you switch from Charlotte to Victor, you would switch from Skull Merchant to the drone and chase after people with the drone. We'll see, but I guess it would have like a power cap depending on how this energy thing is going to work. It is a tricky balance to find that sweet spot of a character that's fun to play and play against. I don't know that the Skull Merchant has been any of that at all up to this point, as far as survivors enjoying them when they had, you know, one of the highest DC rates in the past. And like I said, they have that baggage where it hasn't gotten any better. So I appreciate the behavior is trying something. We'll see where this goes. If this is like at the earliest the end of the year, they have plenty of time to take our feedback and digest any concerns that people might have. And this probably won't be the final version. We'll see what that looks like, and they're going to PTB it, obviously. But I do like that they're taking this approach, because as I talked about in the other video, they can't just go and spend all these labor resources on reworking her and then releasing it in a PTB and find out that it just doesn't work and scrapping it all the way they did with the twins, right? So they need to push this out in the front and say, here's what we're thinking. Let us know what you think. And then listen to everybody's concerns before they invest all the time and labor into making changes that would ultimately get scrapped, right? So if the fact that people think that they are on the right track, I have seen a lot. I've seen a ton of positive comments about this rework. We'll see what happens. But I do like this approach that they're including the community early rather than later. And yeah, we'll see where we go from here. Anyway, that's all I have for you today. As always, thank you so very much for watching. I appreciate the time that you spend here with me on my channel. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It helps the channel a ton. Don't forget to take care of each other in and out of the fog. And we'll see you next time. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
It's a Gen Rush life for us. It's a Gen Rush life for us. Set a hiding, we do gens. Set a randoms, we got friends. It's It's a Gen Rush life.